Mani sir, could you hear me? Mani sir, could you hear me?
Manikandan, Ashok, Balamurugan, sorry for the delay.
Sir, not a problem. We have seen many glitches in online classes.
No, we have this. We have to arrange in all three classes. The second year we have all of them the practical, so we have to focus it in all.
I can share the. I hope I can share the presentation from my side. I believe so.
Yeah, we'll start formally, Balamurugan. You have any problems in sharing the thing, or?
No, I have no problems. I have. I can share it. No problem.
Yeah, no. Then we'll just start with the formal thing, and then we'll just proceed with that. Ashok, can you hear me? Ashok, Manikandan? Ashok, Manikandan?
Sir, இருக்கும் சார் ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார் இருக்கும் சார் அந்த கிளாஸ் ரூம் பிரச்சனை இல்லை இது உங்க ஆடியோ ஒழுங்கா கனெக்ட் ஆகுது சார் எப்படியா ஒர்க் ஆகும் சரி அவங்க டிஸ்ப்ளே கனெக்ட் பண்ணி சொல்லுங்க மொபைல்
guys got the link in the mobile group also.
இது ஆஃப் ஆகும்
Welcome to Morbi Music World. Bluetooth mode. Connected.
சதீஷ் கேக்குதா?
Ashok? Ashok? Ashok, shall we start? Manikandan?
சார் அசோக் தேர்ட் இயர் கிளாஸ்ல இருக்காரு சார்.
Ashok? Usha. So we give me a response.
Yes, sir, we'll start, sir.
Yeah, you can ask them. We'll start. Balamurugan ready? We'll start. Sorry. Hello.
Okay, okay, sir. Done, sir. Noted.
Yeah. Start.
Morning to all present. We the moderator for the webinar. I'm Ume, and on behalf of the Department of Catering Science and Hotel Management and BWOC Hospitality Management, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Chef Balamurugan, respected HOD of the department, Mr. V. Sudhakar, and one and all present here. To begin this program, I would like to call upon the head of department, Mr. V. Sudhakar, to render the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, on behalf of the management of PhD College of Arts and Science and the Department of Catering Science and Hotel Management, I am extremely happy to welcome Chef Balamurugan for this today's webinar. At this juncture, I would also like to thank our secretary, our principal and vice principal for their motivation and kind support in organizing this kind of programs. And also, we are doing this activity as a part of Institution Innovation Council. We have been organizing webinars to give exposure to students. And then today, especially, I am very, very happy to have Chef Balamurugan, who is my student actually from Karpuram College of Arts and Science. Before, he was a student between 96 to 99, and he was very shrewd, and he had taken up a part-time job in residency during the course of time, and he has put in a lot of efforts, and he has been working hard, and he has risen to this level of becoming a chef, and today is an expert in the field of today is working in he has a complete expert completely in kitchen and bakery consultant also, and he is running an organization called as Culinarchs Bred. And of course, Balamurugan, we are happy to have you here. I welcome you once again for this today's program. And also next, I would like to welcome all our students of BSc Catering and Hotel Management and BWOC Hospitality Management for this program. And also I would like to welcome all the staff members of our department for this program. Definitely, this program today will be of great use to all of you. So I request all of you to listen carefully and take the main points and hints which is related to the entrepreneurship, food startup for the beginners. So again, I welcome all of you and have a good day. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I call upon Mr. Bharam Management.
Good morning, everyone. I take this privilege of introducing Mr. Chef Balamurugan to all of you. Chef Bala has been in the hospitality and HoReCa industry for the past 27 years with a versatile experience in star hotels, resorts, cruise ships, restaurants, cafe, bistro, bar, banquets, mega kitchens, and culinary institutions. Chef Bala is also a national level jury member of Indian Federation of Culinary Association and a proud member of World Association of Chef Society and South India Chefs Association. Chef Bala owns two brands called Culinarchs Bred. Both are HoReCa business consultancy firms specialized in pre-opening a wide range of hospitality and catering-related projects, and successfully completed more than 400 projects, within which 150 plus are new startups. In his culinary journey, he has traveled to 70 plus countries and executed projects around the world. It's a great pleasure having you with us in this moment, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bharat. Now I would like to call upon our chief guest to share his valuable thoughts.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks to Sudhakar sir. Thanks to the management of PSG education institutions. Thanks to all staff members and thanks to the students who are present here. It's a pleasure to have you all, and it's a pleasure to present a very interesting topic in this day. So I'd like to keep it casual. So whenever anyone want to interrupt and raise your hands, put up the hand signal, and you can ask your questions. Or at the end of the session, we can have a Q&A session, and we'll take it forward. Today, I will give you a presentation on the topic of food business startup for beginners. I have a presentation, a PPT. So I will run it through, and simultaneously I will share my experience and thought along with it. Shall I proceed, sir?
Yes, you can proceed. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I hope everyone can see my screen.
I think it's not. Balamurugan, I think we can't see your screen.
Okay. Is it visible now? Sir, can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see the screen. Yes, it's visible.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay. I hope I am also audible enough.
Yes, yes, Balamurugan, yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So basically, I would like to keep it as short and clear as possible. So straight away, we'll go into the presentation. So basically, whoever is having the sense of passion and planning to get into the food business, this presentation will be very helpful. So I will keep it in two levels. One is on the macro level and on the micro level. So macro level, it's very simple, and I've given 5 points. To begin entering into food business, or instance for any business, for instance, we need to be a staff, and we need to be a learner, and we need to begin learning the trade first of all. Before you get to learn the trade, it's not wise to get inside. So be a staff in the food business, any genre of food business that you are interested, and we will see a versatile genre of food business, so that you gain your experience first. You need to start from the base level. I started from the base level to get into the trade. I literally worked in every corner of food business, starting to even in the pot wash area, to dishwash area, to bakery, confectionery, Indian, Chinese, tandoor, all these kind of kitchens, guard manja to butchery, to being a barman, to restaurant manager, to business owner. So you need to understand the every corners of this food industry, whichever part of food industry that you want to choose it. Next is you need to choose the right vertical of trade that you are interested, because there's when we talk about food industry, there is like hundreds and thousands of variants of food business that is there existing throughout the world, and you need to understand yourself what to choose first. We'll discuss on that aspect. So once you choose the food business that you are planning to start, you need to understand and make a tailored capex and opex plan. Capex is nothing but capital expenses. Opex is nothing but operating expenses. Capex is a project part until the day you begin the show or begin your business. Opex is something that takes off from the moment you open the trade, go into public and start selling your product or providing the service or whatever it is. And project execution. After your plans are ready, like capex to opex and things like that, you need to execute your project. starting from scrap. Probably you might pick up a store, or you might do a food truck, or you might do some masala product, or whatever you feel like. Next comes your operations, sales, and marketing. Once you execute your projects, the project will be up and running, and you will have to take care of the operations, sales, and marketing part. This is all 5 points that you need to keep in mind on the macro level. We'll go into fine details on the forthcoming slides. So food business, when I talk about food business, or when I say food business, what is food business, and where all these food business venues are there? What all the aspects and different elements of food business, and what all the things that we can choose? To choose is a different point. For beginners, you need to have a proper planning in terms of capex, your shoulder strength, your background, and all these things put together. You need to choose the right food business venue. Say, for example, you might choose to do a small cafe, or you might choose to do a small bakery unit, or you might choose to do a small restaurant, or you might choose to do a small catering company. Here are some very few of selective food business that I have displayed for you. I hope you can see the slides. Each and every food business which I have displayed have its own methodology to enter. But for you to understand, I will keep it on the macro level.
Balamurugan, sorry to
yes.
interrupt. I think you're not able to see the slide actually.
Is that so?
Yeah. Ashok, can you see that, Ashok? Anyone can respond? Hello?
Can others?
Yes, sir. We can see him, sir. We can see him, sir.
Can you see? Can everyone see the slide?
No, Ashok?
Is this slide potential food business venues visible to all? That's the
We can
slide.
see the slide, sir. Just everyone has to pin the slide.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay. Fine. So basically,
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
okay, in this slide, I have shared a few aspects of food business. Dark kitchen, kitchen that is not visible but sharing or making food service to the public. Cloud kitchen, that is existing on the clouds or on the digital portals where you can place the order. Ghost kitchens, you have no idea where the kitchen is, but you get the food. Virtual kitchens, one kitchen with multiple brand names existing in the same kitchen, existing on the virtual platform, giving variety of food. Say, for example, one main kitchen giving a Chinese brand, a Chinese food, a tandoor brand, a tandoor food, these kind of kitchen. Then there comes the co-kitchen. Co-kitchen is jointly we will be venturing with many other brands and many other kitchens under one roof. Swiggy, Zomato, these people now have a lot of co-kitchens where they invite different brands under their platform, and food will be produced and served. Dessert kitchens. These kitchens provide desserts to other business or other direct clients or end users. Central kitchens. These are all large kitchens owned by a chain of restaurants, of chain of cafe, or chain of bakery outlets and things like that. FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods unit. These are all more like on the supermarket, you might see some biscuit packets or cakes or cookies or some kind of a food products that is being packed and sealed in a packet. Those are all called FMCG products. Restaurants, bistro. Bistro is a kind of a Italian fashioned restaurants. Cafe, a lighter version of casual dining. Chai points. These days, we get to see a lot of chai point. Coimbatore have a lot of chai points too, like chai and gupsup. Throughout India, there is Chai Kings. I made the kitchen for Chai Kings around for 60 outlet. We made the centralized kitchen for Chai Kings. Then catering company, there is a lot of catering company producing foods for different occasions, but they don't get involved in front end operations. Some of the best catering come from Coimbatore area, Madambati catering, things like that come from Coimbatore zones. Then we have hotels, resorts, cold kitchens where we produce cold foods like Gad Manjar products or salads and things like that. Then we have snack units, institutional kitchens, industrial kitchens, flotels, small boats with kitchens, bakery units, B2B, business to business kitchen, a kitchen that is supporting another business, not the end user. These kind of kitchens, culinary studios where we give demo to public and make some business out of it. Larders, more like butchery, canteens, cafeterias, copitiums, mostly in Pan Asian zones, we have copitiums. These are all more like cafeteria or food courts and things like that. A kiosk, small eatery, the size of 8 by 8 or 10 by 10, a small unit making and giving small food products or bites and things like that. Masala manufacturing units, research and development kitchens, NPD, new product development kitchens, flight kitchens, food trucks. We have galley. You can be part of any of it as long as you're comfortable to invest and plan to start these things. B2B2C, business to client kitchens, fast food chains, takeaway joints. So many venues are there and options are there. Even every single product can become a business by itself. You say samosa, there is samosa kitchens. You can manufacture the best brand in Bangalore, Samosa Party. They are venturing very well and making a lot of outlets. I'm making another samosa cafe in UK that is coming up with purely samosa concept, different types of samosas and fillings like that. So every product can become a brand or can become a venture by itself. You talk waffles, you talk ice cream, you talk chocolate, you talk any particular food product, it becomes a food business by itself. So there is no limit to create a food business. So it's a vast industry. So I just want to give you a random idea where you can choose and what you can choose and things like that. Some are really big. You need to be very cautious. Sometimes it may not fit for startups, but still, if you have the shoulder strength and money power and well planned execution, you can go ahead. Like hotels that needs crores and crores of investment. A small kiosk may need at least 5 lakhs of investment. But think well before you leap. Okay, where to begin? These are all the micro level thinking that you need to have in mind before you enter into the food business. So before I said macro level thinking, where you have evaluated on the macro level. Now you need to evaluate yourself on the micro level. Self evaluation and categorize yourself, because a food business may range in all aspects from category 1 to 10. You take a bakery, for instance, or you take a cafe, for instance, there will be 10 types of cafe or 10 types of bakery. The first being the most premium one, the 10th being the most sober one. And the last 2-3 units may not sometimes sustain, but in only a few aspects it might sustain. Say, for instance, Tattukada, that is like the last line of fast food chain that is existing. Sometimes it is sustaining very well. If you see a premium star hotel restaurants, that is sustaining on one aspect. It all depends on the clients. Each and every layer of food business will have its own client profile. You do a cafe that is not so premium, that is not so sober, you be in the level of, let's say, 3 to 5. So you get the audience 3 to 5 to your cafe. So it is like psychological bonding that will be happening between the layer where you are and the layer of public profile that get into your outlet or get your product and things like that. Financial limitations and bandwidth, that you need to be very, very serious, because as a consultant, I see so many people get into the food business without any idea of investment. Can you believe Nagarkoil Arya Bhavan in Coimbatore, as we speak, is said to be one of the biggest restaurants in South India. Can anyone guess how many people's working in, or how much investment would have gone into that restaurant? Can someone make a wild guess? Can someone unmute themselves and give me some answers? How many people's working there, or how much of investment would have gone into that restaurant? Can anyone just respond? Can anyone take a wild guess? It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay. Okay, fine. So let me say it. You won't believe the investment would be close to 12 to 15 lakhs. Sorry, 15 crores for that outlet, and it has almost 300 to 400 seatings, and the staff magnitude will be close to 250 to 275. I am working for them. I'm working for their cafe. So I'm just saying you the contents. So this is the magnitude of business that we see. We cannot under-evaluate a project. You see a cafe on a roadside or a cafe coffee day, it will be easily 25 lakhs to 30 lakhs of investment. But normally people make mistake by under-evaluating, thinking that it might be like 5 lakh investment or something like that, or 2 lakhs investment or something like that. Some restaurants rental may range from 2 lakhs to 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs per month. So you need to understand the magnitude of business, your financial limitations, and how much you can invest and take things forward. Okay. Next comes passion versus dedication. You might have so much of passion into food industry. Passion is different. Dedication is different. Just because you have passion, you cannot win the show. You need to have a lot of dedication, hard work, focus to win the show. That is when your food business will get succeeded. Choosing the right product or food business. As I said earlier, you need to be very sure and precise to choose the right product that is comfortable for you, comfortable in terms of investment, comfortable with your knowledge that you have trained and things like that. If you have probably trained in a small cafe, you might end up making a small cafe or a chai point or something like that, or a chain of chai point or chain of small cafes and things like that. Like that, you need to indulge yourself in the line that you have knowledge or you have gained knowledge. Unless otherwise you have gained knowledge, do not step into any food business, because it is so wide, you never know what is behind the show. You need to be very careful in that. Layering the objectives and goal. You need to have an ultimate objective. That is fantastic. You might have an ultimate objective like you need 100 outlets or 50 outlets or 20 outlets or 10 restaurants, or I need to become some brand like Achi Masala or Sakti Masala or some other spice legends and things like that. But you need to have the very next goal, where you want to be on the next year, where you want to be on the forthcoming years, next 3 years, where you want to be. Layer by layer, you set yourself an objective so that all this milestone can be easily achieved. You cannot just have an ultimate goal and blindly work against it. You need to have layers, you need to have steps, you need to have milestones so that you achieve everything stage by stage. This applies even to monthly objectives, to yearly objectives, or an objective for a decade. Okay, your market study and demography, that is very, very important. You cannot randomly think a concept and put that concept of business or food business anywhere in your country or in your city or in your state. Every context or every concept needs a particular demography, a location within your place where it will really function. Otherwise, it may not work out at all. Only when there is so much of footfall, like say for example, I have analyzed one of the best running outlets of Aroma Bakery is near PSG. I've seen they do on near the airport, they do easily 1.5 lakhs of business per day. If they are having the same outlet in a very, very remote third tier or fourth tier street in Coimbatore, probably they wouldn't be making that at all. So demography is very, very important. So you need to understand the market first and then place yourself. Strong business model. You need to create a wonderful business model with all elements in it. We will discuss it in the following slides so that you don't miss out anything. Only then you get to see the great success. Give importance for people psychology. People psychology is very, very important because your self-interest will be totally different. I've seen people saying, I like pasta, I like wonderful cafe with leisure seating and things like that. I want to invite guests like that. There is no good place for leisurely sit and have a coffee. If the people are leisurely sitting and having a coffee, you may not be making money. The same time, if the place is way too crowded, but the people may not be comfortable in that. Only certain profiles will be comfortable in that. You are making a small chai point, but you give a very, very lavish interior and things like that. People might be a little scared to get inside because they might feel it might be a little expensive and things like that. So there is a kind of a people psychology that really plays a very, very vital role when you start a food business. Keep those things in your mind. Any questions so far? Anybody would like to? Anyone put up their hands or any questions? Because I'm in the slides, I couldn't see anyone. Okay, so okay. Somebody I think have raised their hands. Okay, who's that name? Psycho Pirate. Any questions?
Or we can just proceed. We'll just have the question session at the last.
Fine. So, okay. So now we have thought about the macro level points to think and micro level points to think. These kind of things you keep in your mind. Next comes your real-time analytics or real-time split of your capital investment and OPEX before you get into business. You need to have a clear-cut plan where and how you are going to invest. This is just an example of a spreadsheet that I have shared to you. This is a small cookies manufacturing unit that will be operating only on need basis. They don't work all 365 days. When there is a cookies order, these people will produce cookies and they will give it, and the unit will be closed. This is some unit, something like that. They don't have a shop, they don't have an outlet, they don't have a dining space. They make the cookies and they would probably sell it to some industry. Say, for example, a Honda car manufacturing unit, they might have 5,000 to 10,000 employees or staff, or a mobile manufacturing unit in some place having so many staffs. They want to eat cookies for tea time, probably morning 10 a.m. to, probably in the evening again by 4 p.m. or something like that. So this manufacturing unit is made. What are the content that goes? This is just an example. I'm just telling you for this particular outlet. This doesn't, or this may not be accurately fitting for any other food business. This is just a sample that I'm sharing to you. Advance agreement, documenting formats, all these things may consume up to 1,10,000 rupees in that particular outlet. This is for one particular place. This is not general aspect. Sometimes the advance might vary, rent might vary, investment might vary. This is just an example I'm just saying you. Auditing and accounting for 1 month, 4,000 I have made. And banking formalities, you need to open a current account with some formalities, so 10,000 for that. Billing system, hardwares and softwares, 50,000 rupees. Branded bags and pouches for the cookies, 25,000 rupees. Branding, logo formations and trademark registration, 25,000 rupees. Brand material for marketing, t-shirts, caps, uniforms, 10,000 rupees. Brand pack designs for the pouches, that is 25,000 rupees. Branding takes so much of elements. Now you can see that. Cleaning and stationery, 5,000. Commercial refrigerator is required when you do a cookies in a small bakery unit. Deck ovens is required. Then you have a lot of other plug and play equipments, architectural, electrical, AEC, MEP, that is infrastructure. Lab test reports are required. License are required. Rental has to be taken care. Planetary mixture is required. Then you need to create product pamphlets and business cards before you do the marketing. Production unit rent has to be considered. Production unit advance have to be considered. Then you have project and purchase logistics. You need to travel places to make some purchases. Trials and testing with raw materials. You need to do a lot of trials before you get a consistent product. So you need to waste a lot of raw material that is being showed. During the trials and testing, you need to pay for the staffs who work along. I've made some 6,000 rupees for them. Utensils, trays, gadgets, molds, all these things are required. You need to create a web page. Then you need to have a work table, sinks and things like that. I've made another investment for that. So look into the kind of investment that is required for this particular aspect. So for a restaurant, this might vary. You might need to put some on furnitures and things like that. Then I have made another list of running capital, static and variable. Static is something that will probably remain the same. No matter what, the rent will be the same. No matter what, more or less, you have some expense that will be the same. Variable expense is something according to the sales you make, you may spend on some amount on the raw materials and things like that. This is just an example I'm just giving you. So I will share this PPT to Sudhakar sir so that you can have a glance down the line. Um, so I told you, work on a budget. This is just an example of a monthly budget breakup. On a longer term yearly budget, quarterly budget, half yearly budget, you need to start with day one and the first month. So you need to have yourself an allocation. This is just an example for a small eatery I have made here. Normal standard in India, this is something like this may fit for a cafe, a restaurant, and things like that. For building rental, we can this percentage is derived from the ultimate sale of the month. Let us assume, if you think or assume you can do a 10 lakh sales per month, you can break up your percentage like this. That 10 lakh have to be considered 100 plus GST percentage. For restaurants, it's 105, like 5% is the GST. If you're going into some premium product, FMCG, it's 18% and things like that. So consider that 100 plus GST percentage. GST, you forget it because straight away you're going to give it to the government or pay it across. Then comes uh, uh, your building rental, staff salary, RMC, raw material cost, and things like that, packing materials, cleaning materials, stationaries, electricity, gas, fuel, miscellaneous overhead. So much things are entering into your monthly overheads. Think it along. It's not like you make some food in the kitchen, you serve it to the guest, and you make money. It doesn't work that way. So you need to understand the content that goes into the food business when you do a startup, something smaller or something like that. So macro level, we have seen and we have discussed a lot of points in detail. There are more elements that you need to concentrate. These are all small specks of elements that you need to concentrate when you do a startup. You need to give importance for your packaging. You need to make good digital noise, that is marketing on the digital platform like Facebook, Instagram, Reels. These days so much contents are there. Air handling, since you're into food business, your kitchen or your place should be having a very good exhaust and fresh air system, if required filtered fresh air system. Waste management, cleaning strategies, raw material or food cost, RMC percentages, license formalities, legalities, staff amenities, hygiene. So many things are there when it comes to food business. Branding need to be taken care. Trademark have to be registered, because you make a wonderful brand, and if you don't register that brand, somebody else will copy your brand and they own the brand when they do the trademark. You can never get your brand back. Probably you create a nice brand and you run it for 2 years. It's wonderful, it's all over the city, you made 10 outlets, but you haven't registered your trademark. Somebody else can easily get a trademark for just 15,000 rupees, and they will literally own the product, and they will put a notice for you telling you to remove the name because the name belongs to them. So you need to be very careful. Why I mentioned plumbing here, especially, there is a lot of aspects when it comes to food industry, like civil works, plumbing works, carpentry works, electrical works, mechanical works and things. Plumbing is very prime because we use a lot of water, no matter what food business we are into. So drain lines and other hygiene factors have to be clearly maintained. So give importance for plumbing. There are so much things into plumbing. Signages, when you do some outlet on the front facade, like it's not a cloud kitchen, so you're not going to stay behind, you're coming in front. A retail outlet, a small pastry shop, or a small bistro, or a small chai point, or whatever it is, the signage have to be very prime, and it should be beautiful, and it should be wonderful. Same way, when you have to give importance for the branding, use wonderful colors, and keep your branding very prime, so that your brand is memorable for the people to think and realize wherever you are. Equipments, you use the right kitchen equipments. You would have seen a lot of, if you are already into industrial visits or trainings, and your institution might have your commercial kitchen gadgets. Those kind of manufacturing equipment is very prime. ROI is nothing but return on investment. Whatever you are investing, you need to take back your investment over a period of time. At least you should take back in 3 to 4 years. So your plan should be in such a way you make so much of profit in per month, so that you take back whatever you have invested in 3 months. Say, for example, every month you do a sales of about 10 lakh, and you have invested about 10 lakh on your project, or 20 lakhs, or whatever it is. You should at least take 3% or 5% of your investment as profit every month, so that at the end of 3 years you take back all your investment. SOPs, standard operating procedures, should be there all over. There should be store module, there should be purchase module, there should be cash module, there should be production modules. There should be different modules in like books and softwares and things like that, so that you keep everything as per the operating procedures and nothing like haphazard, just like that, go cook, sell, and sleep. It doesn't work that way. You need to have SOPs, you need to have recipes, you need to have some standards in your food production systems. USP is very, very important. Unique selling point or a unique selling proposition. That is something you need to have for yourself. There has to be something different from others. Everybody is selling biryani, I'm also selling biryani. What's the difference? Why should people come to you if you're doing a biryani outlet when somebody else does biryani? Everywhere biryani is available, and some biryanis are decent good. Why should people come to you? Maybe you can create a very interesting packing format. You make your biryani in kind of a different packing element, or a mud pot, or nice interesting tins, or some nice interesting natural material, or you make a biryani with different rice or different meat or different vegetable, whatever it is. So you need to have USP in your product, at least in your brand and things like that. Infrastructure, yes, you give importance for infrastructure. You give very, very serious concern, because that is going to be with you for next few years. If it is very, very stable, you need to concentrate only on your business. If the infrastructure is very feeble and very weak, you may have to keep repairing it, keep managing it, or keep addressing the troubles that you face in the infrastructure. Break-even point. What is break-even point? There will be a point where you will be making no point, no loss. That is called break-even point. All your overheads are met, all your expenses are met, but you're not making profit. Say, for example, you make 7 lakhs a sale a month, and your expense is equivalent to 7 lakhs. You're not making profit, you're not making loss. So that point is called break-even point. That you need to visualize and find it out, and you need to cross that point to make profit. FSSAI, all these FSSAI formalities and needs have to be met. These days, you need to undergo fast track training courses. Food Safety Standard Authority of India, ISO and HACCP standards, promotions need to be taken care when it comes to marketing and things like that. See, there are so many so many points that I would like to address, but I don't want to take a lot of time, so I'm just rushing it through. This presentation is going to be with yourself. So whenever you start a food business, when you scroll it down, you would definitely find some valid content to visualize and address it. So keep that in mind whenever you start your own food business. Do not do without any proper planning and things like that. So I think I've rushed it across. And any particular slides do you wish to repeat, or any particular questions that you wish to ask? You please let me know. Sudha sir.
Yeah, Balamurugan.
Yes, please, sir.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So any questions from anybody, or any particular points you want me to repeat or address it? You have any doubts, clarification? Make yourself very casual, and you can ask me literally anything to do with food business and food business startups.
Students, if you have any questions, you can just proceed. Let's not waste the time. Please proceed.
First of all, may I know how many of you would be interested to get into food business after your college days? How many of you are having that in mind at least? Can I at least know that, please? I'll be happy. Or you can just message in the chat box, or raise your hand, or show some signal in the chat box stating that you're interested in doing a food business. The chat box is empty actually. Okay, cool. Anyway, Any other clarification from the staff members? I'll also be interested to answer the questions, please.
One of them is there, Balamurugan. Yes, sir. Me Gulsum, you can just go ahead. Me Gulsum.
Okay, the person is interested. Good, fine. Happy to know that they want to start a food business. Cool. So I basically faced quite some failures initial days. Those failures have given me a lot of knowledge, but I suggest sometimes failures might be a little expensive when it comes actually. So it's better to face some failures when the investment, or when you're on the initial stages and initial steps. So it's better. There is something else I would also like to say when it comes to startup. The most unfavorable attribute for any people who do the startup is they might have a wishful thinking. There is something called wishful thinking, where one will believe that their concept or their brand or their food business will be a big hit, immaterial what. That's something like a wishful thinking. Reality will be a little different, and the wishful thinking is different. Wishful thinking is something you have in your mind and you want that to happen. That's a very common, very common phenomenon in any business startup. People think, okay, this is a great idea, this will be a big success, I want to do it. That's very wrong. Only if you have a clear cut strategy, clear cut mathematics analysis, and then you get into the business, it will be a great success. Do not have wishful thinking. Another thing, whenever you start a food business, you need to lose your individuality. You need to think like a common man. You need to think like public. You need to think like the end consumer who's going to consume your product. You cannot have some interest that you have and try to push it to the public. You might like pasta, or you might like continental food, but if you feel like you want to put a continental restaurant in your town where none of them are oriented towards that cuisine, you might end up in a big failure. And another thing, people commonly say that, okay, I want to start up this category of food business in this city because no one else have that concept. There are two reasons for that. One is probably, yes, 50% chances that there is no one in the city having that concept because no one has thought for it. Option number two, there is a 50% chance that people with knowledge in the food industry have trialed, tested, and faced failure, and people don't recognize that particular concept. That is why that concept is not existing in your city or in your place. So you need to be very careful when you choose a concept or a kind of a category. There could be either way of chances. You could win or you could lose if that concept is not existing in one particular city or a place or things like that. So keep that in mind as well. You cannot vaguely think that this concept is not there, so I will do it, I will succeed. You might end up in failure because people don't like it. You might be somebody with a good knowledge and good training and good experience. You try to do something, people are the better judgment barriers, because they choose what to eat and what not to eat. Okay, what are the difficulties and how to overcome it? Okay,
Chef,
what will be
Chef Balamurugan.
Yeah, please. Yes, please.
This is Satish, faculty
Yes,
from
please.
Hotel Management Department, and indeed it is a wonderful presentation, very sharp and precise. And we have had a lot of presentations on entrepreneurship, but then this is quite interesting, and because many won't reveal all the tricks and the trade tricks. And thank you so much, and we would like to have you in our campus sometime. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Definitely, Mr. Satish. Definitely, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Great.
And there's a question in the chat box.
Yeah. So what will be the difficulties and how to overcome it? Okay. This is kind of not a very particular question, this, because the difficulties might arise from many aspects. You need to be very precise in addressing it. Each and every difficulty has its own way to address it. So whenever you do a startup, as I said, if you're not planning very well, you will face a lot of difficulty. Planning is very, very important. You take a month plan, you take a 1 year plan, you do a 2 year plan, that is not a problem, because you will not be investing much when you do planning. You can take your own time, you do a lot of research, you get into doing the analytics, you study the market, you study the product, you study your client and things like that. When you do the planning precisely, and when you plan your capital investment and expected business in particular, you will succeed without any difficulty. But if you don't plan very well, you will face a lot of difficulties. In, let's say you plan about 40 points rather than 100 points, then you will obviously feel difficulty in another 60 points where you haven't planned perfectly. So you plan all the elements when it comes to a project, starting from the physical project itself, operations, into product, to marketing, to elements that I shared. So planning is the best cure. You take your time for how much long you want to plan. Don't be in a rush. No one should be in a rush when you plan some big, because it involves a lot of money, probably your money or your partner's money or your parents' money. Money is money. So do not waste it. Plan it precisely and execute the project precisely. That will be the best solution to overcome any difficulties when it comes to a startup. And you should also know the right time. Say, for instance, you have planned a project very well, or you haven't planned much, or whatever the situation is. But when you feel the pinch, when you feel that you are failing in your project for some reason, you should be very, very sure and very, very clear when to exit a business. That is very, very important. I started with a restaurant chain in 2007. We started with 8 lakhs of investment with 2 partners, and we did a project that is worth 80 lakhs. It is a rock. The restaurant name is The Rock. It started in Velachery. We took loan. It was fantastic. And we did the second month, we did 18 lakhs business, and we did 3 lakhs profit. The business was going perfect and beautiful and fantastic. Everything was fantastic. People loved in Velachery, Chennai. People loved, and we made a couple of more branches and things like that. But one of the branch faced a difficulty when the government announced metro rail system in Mount Road. So the road has to be blocked. So that restaurant, we almost invested 1 crore. So our sales from 25 lakhs dropped down to 8 lakhs. So we immediately realized that this restaurant will not succeed because metro rail project may go on for a longer time. So we immediately shifted the restaurant. We quit the restaurant. We scraped and saved whatever we want to take out from that place. Another restaurant which was very competing for us nearby stood there for a longer time, and they faced difficulty and they faced a major failure. We at least tried to shift ourselves elsewhere. There was another situation where the building owner was raising the rent because he was visualizing a lot of footfalls and a lot of business. So we have to close the restaurant because the rent goes unbearably high, where we will not be making any profit at all. We literally have to give the entire profit as the rent to the business owner. So you really need to know when to close a business or when to shut down a business if it is not working. You need to be very smart. Otherwise, you might end up in a bigger loss, bigger failure. Falling from a short height is fine. Falling from a tall height is a big issue. So that's my personal experience. I've worked, made a small business to large business. I made a small Muniandi Villas tea shops to star hotels. I worked for Hilton. I made projects for Hilton, Le Méridien. I've inaugurated cruise ships, large cruise ships with 5,000 passengers and 2,000 employees. We were part of a culinary team. inaugurating and setting up the kitchen, training the team, and getting into the seas. So this is my experience and thought. Anyone else would like to share some thoughts and questions?
The students, if you have any questions, you can put in the WhatsApp group. So Satish will ask the questions actually. Students, again, I repeat, if you have any kind of questions, you can put on the WhatsApp group immediately, and Mr. Satish will present the questions.
Another important aspect, whoever want to become a food business entrepreneur, they should not feel shy. First of all, they cannot stay silent. First of all, they need to be really talkative, because you will have to meet a lot of people in the public. You might have to understand them and mingle with them. You need to do the service. So it's wiser that you speak out in the public forums such as this, or wherever you get the chance to ask your questions or speak out. That's my sincere thought. It's natural that students might stay silent because they might feel a little shy. Okay, say about your experience in bakery business. Oh, sure.
Wow, that's the Jusha, actually one of our faculty.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Actually, I started my career in the residency Coimbatore, pre-opening and bakery. It was Baker's Corner. I used to do my college from 10 a.m. to 3:30 during the day, and 5 or 6 p.m. I will enter into the bakery every day from 96 to 99, except for that 1 month training. So evening 6 p.m. to morning 3 a.m. I work around 9-hour shift. Mostly I was left alone. I used to do trials and testings and use the modern cookery recipes and things like that. Sometimes it will end up fine, sometimes it may not. For a period of time, I realized beyond recipes, we need to create a bondage with the product, with the oven, and we need to understand the body of the product when it comes to bakery and confectionery. So I took over a wonderful product after 6 months, and by the end of 3 years, I became the section head in the residency for the bakery. That time, Chef Ashok was there. Chef Ashok was the pastry chef. Now, recently, he left the residency group. So after gaining that knowledge on bakery very strong, I took over. I was in the pre-opening Hilton team. Then I was in the pre-opening Le Meridian team in Chennai. Then I was in the bakery startup for the Carnival Cruise Lines. We inaugurated around 7 ships. Then I was in the Ida Cruise Lines in Germany. Carnival is based in Miami. I was in the culinary team. We used to be 80 people inaugurating a kitchen. And I used to be part of one particular restaurant called Lido. Lido will be on the 11th deck. It's a buffet dessert restaurant. So basically, I need to provide free desserts. It means it's part and parcel of the cruise fees the guest will be getting. For the lunch, for 5,000 people every night, one-man show, I need to make at least 8,000 portions of desserts every single night. So I will have a 10-month contract without leave, no off, no holiday. For 10 months, we will work all 300 days or 320 days, more or less. And I will be making desserts from scrap. We will have at least 8 variant of desserts, each almost so many portions, from starting from basic dry cakes to Neapolitan to mousse to jellies to brownies to, finished patisseries to gatto to whatnot. So from there, I was doing coming to vacation, and I was also getting involved in pre-opening few bakery, few restaurants when I was working, because I used to get a 3-month vacation or 4-month vacation. During the cruise ships lifetime, I've been traveling all over the world, and I especially choose to see restaurants and bakery operations in different countries, because my home port is usually some of the best vacation spots around the world, because ship construction mostly happens in Helsinki, Finland, Venice, Italy, Southampton, UK, and Tokyo, Japan. These are all the major cruise ship manufacturing or dockyards. So I used to be there. So I used to go inside the country. I even worked in Venice, some interesting pastry shops. I worked in Athens because we will have a lot of time. So in Athens, I worked in Greece, some pastry shops. Even though the language is a barrier, we used to make just products and we exchange products and ideas with the chefs who was in the bakery. So I had a lot of passion. So even during the moment without finishing the sightseeing or finishing the country orientation and demography, I used to work in different outlets in particular itineraries where we used to go. I have worked short times in Croatia. I worked in some of the tapas bar in Barcelona. I worked in Miami. So we used to have overnight stay, 2 day stay, and things like that. When the ship is on the dockyard without sailing, we might have a lot of time to explore the city during when I used to gain knowledge that way. Then I started this company called Bread, BRED. It's more like a breed of bakers. It's something bread and a breed. It's a combination of both. So this company, I am doing a lot of bakery business projects. I have completed and supported many brands of bakery. I work for Chai Kings. I work for Talapakati. I have done bakery for Buhari hotels. Down south in Coimbatore, my recent product is Bakes Bay, Vadavalli. I've done a bakery and cafe there. I work for Pollachi, Amudasurubi brand, Gauri Krishna in Madurai and various places. I'm just supporting them in Chennai. And throughout outside India, we have made a cafe in Maldives. We have made a restaurant in Colombo, in Puchong, Malaysia. As we speak, there are some projects going on outside India and in India as well. I travel a lot. I love traveling and I love to do these kind of a bakery and restaurant projects. So anything else? That's how I get into this food business and bakery business. And I'm supporting a lot of existing brands, new brands, startup, old brands, and things like that. Okay.
Thank you, sir. So one more question, sir. Do you think home bakers are a real challenge to the bakeries nowadays?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so because I've known some of the fantastic home bakers in Tamil Nadu are present in Coimbatore. I've seen their products, wonderful products, and things like that. But they they cannot become a challenge for a commercial bakery because this spectrum and audience are totally different, and home bakers audience are totally different. Probably the bakery might lose a few thousands of business in a month, but the total magnitude of a business that retail, let's say Aroma Bakery in Coimbatore, they do lakhs and lakhs or at least a lakh per outlet. When it compared to a home baker, they want to put a lot of time making one cake or one product or a set of product. They might have just one or two assistant at home. They might get along. And governments are refining home bakers formalities. Soon it will be very tough for the home bakers to sustain because the problem is home bakers need to take FSSAI license that has become very, very strict. Or if they are selling the product commercially, they might end up with a penalty of 5 lakh rupees. Government has declared this. So if they are taking an FSSAI license, their home electricity bill will become a commercial building. Their home will become a commercial building. So if they are paying 5 rupees per unit, they might have to end up paying 12 rupees or 15 rupees per unit. So there is a lot of difficulty. They really can't be doing the business formally, but informally, yes, I think they can sustain, but they can never become a problem for a commercial or a retail bakery business owners because this magnitude is totally different. The scale is different. These people can make 100 or 200 breads per day. At the same time, they can make up to 50 SKUs, different stock keeping units, 50 variants of products, each in hundreds and 200s. There'll be a team of chefs working professionally and bringing out products, and their end user want to eat some small puff for 10 rupees, 20 rupees, and end up having a tea, coffee, and things like that. But this kind of business is little different for the hardly they might catch up, ending up selling some small cakes and birthday cakes and things like that for premium clients and their friends, families, and that network. But I don't think they will really affect. It's a healthy behavior, and it's a healthy attribute, and home bakers should come up, and they are teaching the people, they are teaching the public what is right, what is interesting, and what is not. So that adds value to the industry. So it is totally fine. All type of bakery spectrum is required in a country like India. So that will definitely add more value, because even the COVID has hiked the bakery business. Even the First World War, Second World War has hiked the bakery industry. When it comes to Second World War, that is when the bakery industry got industrialized. Factories were formed, bakery factory manufacturing units were formed. So nothing disturbs bakery industry. It is always on the growth level. That's my thought. That's my personal opinion. I'm just sharing.
Thank you
And
so
there
much,
is
sir.
a
That will inspire most of the students to start their own small home entrepreneurship work.
yeah, definitely. Everything starts from home, actually. That's an inspiration. Yes, because I've seen people starting things like making good products. They can even use their 1 hectare of their home, make it industry, make it commercial, make taken a separate electrical line in their car garage, and they can definitely start a very interesting manufacturing unit there and proceed. I think that's not a problem at all. It's very easy, and it's very comfortable. It's okay to bifurcate some space and start up a small unit. It could be bakery, or it could be any small snack manufacturing unit. These days we get a lot of machines doing one particular product. You can have a hydraulic idiyappam maker. You can have very interesting fully automated samosa filling machine or momo filling machines. So many machines have come. So that will definitely support initial startups, especially for students. And there's a question, I believe, in
Thank
the
you.
chat box. Different restaurants have different tastes, so it's difficult to compromise people in that. So how could you address that? Okay, great. That's a nice question. Yes, say for instance, in a bigger city like Chennai, if people go with multiple restaurants of the same brand, they definitely need centralized kitchen. That is when they will become more successful and more scalable. I have made a central kitchen for different brands. Say for instance, this new brand, or there was a brand called Bilal from 1930s and 40s in Mount Road, Chennai. They have revamped, and we are putting up central kitchen for them. Same way, Talapakatti have central kitchen, A to B have central kitchen. They even have centralized kitchen in different districts, so that they cater a cluster of restaurants in different zones. And that is where the SOP also comes in. Initial opening of a restaurant, okay, you make products, you sell, you make money, that's totally fine. Over a period of time, after 6 months or 8 months, you need to sit down and capture the recipes and make documentations and set standards, so that there is no taste variant in different restaurants of the same brand. That is how we do. That is how we do. We don't start putting the SOPs in terms of recipes in the beginning. We will give them time, because the restaurant have to be set, the business have to be set. It will take some time. That from the day one we can't do the recipe, because to understand the food, the restaurant will take some time. The rice may not get set in six months. Maybe we need to change the water, we need to change the chili powder, or we might have to change the entire meat, or we might have to change the flour for paratha. We might get a lot of issues in the first 6 months of any food business. After that, we can settle down and make an SOP and standardize the recipes and things. I have a team of people. We are basically a team of 8 chefs working under my brand. I'm heading the team. These chefs sometimes go to a particular restaurant or a bakery. They stay there for 3 months and 6 months. They capture all the details when it comes to recipes or the operating procedure. They document and they give to the brand. That is called the spec book. That spec will be more like a Bible for that particular brand. That is how we standardize the taste when it comes to product lines. That's how we do it, actually. So, anything else? And another thing, when it comes to taste, We also give respect to the local culture. In a place like Chennai, we have a lot of Andhra settlements and youngsters in Velachery, whereas in Adyar, we have a lot of elderly people, retired people, going for walking and health conscious and things like that. We can't afford to put spicy food in Adyar, whereas the same meal preparation or the food preparation can be a little bit spicy and tangy in Velachery. Some restaurants do this kind of minor alterations to their product lines, for the better sales and things like that. We need to respect the local culture, and every brand has to get themselves tailored to their environment and the grid where they are. That is the greatest possibility of success story. There's another question, very interesting question, I believe. Okay, according to you, what's best, home baking or a private stall or a place on accommodation of all aspects? What's more comfortable? Okay, that's a very good questions. First of all, for beginners to start up, let us assume you have about 20 lakhs in hand and you are going to plan a startup business. You need to plan only for 10 lakhs. You need to literally keep the 10 lakhs for saving, because that comes handy when it comes to operations, opex, and things like that. Only if you have a lavish fund, lavish money in hand, you can go into a bigger project, and bigger project as and how it is required. But if your financial strength is the pure first element to think and have and keep in mind when you start up a business, it is not oriented towards the category or the type or the product. First and foremost, number one, what do you have in hand? What is your shoulder strength? How much you can spend? Everything is oriented towards that. You need to do a reverse engineering from there. You have 20 lakhs, you do a reverse engineering for that. I can spend for this. So I can make so much of business. So you do a reverse engineering calculation with whatever money in hand. Accordingly, you can choose your project. It may be small, smaller, small to medium, medium, large, or large, extra large, jumbo, something like that. So you always plan with the finance that you have in hand. That is my kind suggestion. Every project can be successful only if you have the shoulder strength and financial support you have, because sometimes you cannot be binging on the fund you need while you need to take care of a project. Let us say some projects needs 20 lakhs, but you want to finish that in 10 lakhs. You might finish it in 10 lakhs, but while running the show, you will end up in a lot of problems, a lot of pains, a lot of burdens. You might end up in a lot of stress where you need to manage your fund rather than concentrating on your market or an R&D or your product or your guest and things like that. So you need to be very, very careful. You always choose your fund, same fund. Say, for example, you have, my kind suggestion, if you have 5 lakhs in hand, try not to do something with 5 lakhs. That is my humble and honest opinion, because 5 lakhs is a very, very small fund these days to do any kind of startup. So at least you should think about 10 lakhs, or you get a loan or do something like that. You should think about something like that. Even if you have 10 lakhs, you need to plan a project for 7 lakhs. You need to keep the 3 lakhs handy. With 7 lakhs, we need to bifurcate all the expenses, like how I said, and things like that. Then you need to go ahead. So that is how a project need to be planned or got into. Home baking is good for beginners to understand themselves. You need to gain your confidence. So use home baking for gaining your confidence. Give it to your friends and give it to your family. Get honest opinion, because I've seen, a lot of people doing home baking and sharing with their family. Their family might encourage a lot, but the common public may not be encouraging. They might not end up getting wishful thinking and spoiling themselves. So you need to be very, very careful. Make good product, trial and test your product, choose unique product. When you're doing home baking, you cannot afford to do everything. You need to stick to one particular product. Okay, you are a cupcake person, you make only cupcakes. You are a chocolate person, you make only chocolates. You are a birthday cake person, you make only birthday cakes. Try not to get into too much content, because home baking is like small crew. You might have an assistant, 1 or 2, or your family member or somebody. So don't end up trying a bigger spectrum of product line. But when it comes to stall, I will give you another interesting way to start a business. You need not even have to have a production unit to start a small business. You can get your product from some other B2B business vendor and put up a stall, put up a small pastry shop, try to sell it, see what's happening. If you are confident enough in that particular zone making the products sell, then you put your own bakery unit or a small production unit or a kitchen, so that you don't waste your time and money and effort into making a kitchen and an outlet and trying to sell, taking a long time to break even and losing a lot of money. So try to get your products from somewhere else and sell it. That is also fine, totally fine. And I am also doing a lot of similar projects where I don't insist doing a kitchen. There are kitchens without outlets or restaurants or a front end. There are front ends without kitchens or back end or supporting units. There should be at least a pantry to, plate and shuffle and, wash and rinse and present and things like that. This is my opinion. Anything else, please?
Hello. Balamurugan, it was a wonderful presentation.
Thank
It was
you,
very crisp, actually. It was a thought-provoking one. And definitely it would be useful for our students, those who are having an idea to come up with a startup, and hope to invite you soon on an offline program at our campus. Definitely, it was very useful, and thank you very much for spending your valuable time here.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, sir. It's honestly, it's a bigger topic. Probably, if there'd be more time, I would even spend more. But I think I've tried to crash within the time frame.
You have done it. Yeah, even though it was a bigger topic, definitely, I think you have made it very precise, actually. And up to the point, it was there, definitely. And you would explained all the things. It was definitely an eye opener to all of our students, definitely. Thank you.
It's a pleasure,
Students,
sir.
any questions? Any questions?
And I think I also shared my number in the presentation that I shared you, sir. So anybody who want to ask any private questions also, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
They can just give me a ping and I can answer their questions anytime.
Yeah, sure.
It's a great opportunity. Thanks to all. Thanks to Sudhagar sir, my all-time favorite. It has been years that we are connected. We met in '96 as a first-year student. I met him, and ever since we meet on and off and here and there and various events. Whenever I visit for Coimbatore projects and I meet him, it's a pleasure to connect with you, sir, and it's a pleasure to connect with all the staffs of PhD Education Institution and students. Thanks for the opportunity. It's wonderful to share my thoughts in this platform. I really am inclined, and I'll be waiting to see you face to face on a offline direct session. Please.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Shall
Thank you.
proceed? Just a minute. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to call upon Natya from third year BSc Catering Science and Hotel Management to render the vote of thanks. Good afternoon to all of you, respected ladies and gentlemen. As we come close to wrapping up the event of today, on behalf of the Department of Catering Science and Hotel Management and BO Hospitality Management, it gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks to this gathering here. My very special thanks to the Kitchen and Bakery, Culinarchs and Bred. So, the monthly budget worksheet and the key elements for a good food startup will be very helpful for us for our future endeavors. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the head of the department, Mr. V. Sudhakar, for his valuable contribution and guidance. Thank you, sir. Last but not the least, I thank my teachers and my dear friends for their cooperation. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natya. With this, we have come to the end of today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you also. Thank you all.
And thank you, Varun. Thank you. Cut.